I'm very excited to bring you guys this week's episode because this week's guest happens to be very important to me. He is someone who is genuinely one of the best people in my life that I know for a lot of reasons, and I'm just very honored and privileged to know this person and to have worked with this person and to consider them my best friend and let you guys see what's up with him because I get to, I get this all the time. So I'm excited to share his thoughts with the world. Um, this week's guest and my best friend, Mr. Miguel Victoria Silva.
Video game enthusiast, U.S. Army soldier slash engineer, and probably the most important fact about him is that he is forklift certified, ladies and gentlemen. We also have to take a second to recognize how committed this man is. You were one of the first people to know about this podcast, first of all. And when I asked you to be a guest, you bought a microphone, and I'm sure there's going to be other use cases for the microphone. You can definitely let us know what your SoundCloud is so we could go, support your new rap career. But yeah, that's awesome. You were super supportive and helpful in the creation of this podcast. So thank you very much for
Oh
that.
yeah, definitely. Like when you told me that you were gonna attempt the podcast, I was like, bro, just go ahead and do it. Like, don't even give it like a
Yeah,
second thought. That entails sounding amazing. Like, I need to have my voice, my beautiful, amazing voice, sound at
of
its
course.
best with the
Yeah,
best microphone money can buy.
yeah, exactly. So, Miguel, how did we meet? Because I've talked about this on this podcast like extensively at this point, and it's only episode 3. So, in attempt to get other people to talk about it, um, I'd like to have you explain your side of this story.
Well, what I can remember, because it was like I think I was what, a junior in high school.
I think it was beginning senior year.
Was it? Oh, it might have been. Who freaking knows? I have a really bad perception of time. Anyways, yeah, it was right. It was like a week after we had an assembly about like the Jostens people that were trying to sell us their rings and stuff.
Hmm.
And when they told us we were gonna go back, in my head I was like, oh my god, these dudes trying to like scam me out of my money yet again. Like, I'm just
Yeah,
buying the cap and gown. I don't do all that, right?
yeah.
And so I was going into the assembly like, pretty annoyed because it was during my like one of the classes where me and my boys were, the majority of us were, and it was our auto tech class. Now that it comes back
Mm,
to me, so we were actually doing stuff in that class. We were just sitting
yeah.
around. We were like we were working on an engine at that point, and our instructor was like, yeah, we're gonna go to this assembly. And they were talking about it. They introduced us to the SSA and like the benefits that come from it. And I really wasn't personally gonna do it because I was like, man, like I've never really been a person to like reach out for help.
Yeah.
I'm a very like how would you say it? I guess the best way you could put it is, if I'm lost and someone like someone in the car is like, you should probably ask for directions. I will not ask for directions
Yeah.
just like to prove a point.
Yeah. Like
Like,
I'll figure it out myself
exactly. Yeah,
eventually.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually, even if it takes me like 3 hours, right? So I was like, yeah, I don't really think this is for me. And then one of my buddies, he was like, dude, I'm gonna sign up. Are you gonna sign up? And he was like, I was like, well, should I? Like, I don't really think I'd use the program. He was like, nah, bro, like just sign up. It might just be like, it might just give you like scholarships or who knows? Because we were talking about, it was really heavy on scholarships. This is before I enlisted into the army.
Yeah.
So me finding like all kinds of scholarships to pay for school was like a big thing.
Yeah.
It was like, he can help you out with that because I was filling out some applications, and I was like, dang, all right, like we'll just for the just for the like the connections or the outreach or whatever.
Right.
And I signed up, and I thought my link was broken because I think it took me like a week for me to get a message from you,
Really?
and everyone else was getting like messages right away,
Dang.
like automated messages at that, but
Yeah.
they were messages nonetheless. And I was like,
Right.
dang, what the heck? Like something must be messed up. And I went and I raised my hand to the presenter. I forget his name. He was really cool though. He was really laid back. I told him, I was like, hey, I haven't got him. I don't know if I did it. And he was like, oh no, you did. It's just taking a while. Like, don't worry, they're looking. He gave me the classic. They're looking for the best agent for you.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I guess I'll wait. And then I think it was 5 days later where you finally texted me
Yeah.
and you introduced yourself. And when I texted you back, I think you responded pretty fast. I think it was like a half hour. I think in the
Yeah.
half hour you answered, and I was like, "Yo," I went to my friend. And I was like, "Yo, like I got my agent now. This is my agent. His name's Noah." And he was like, "Oh, dude, that's cool. My agent sucks. He ghosted me."
Damn. My God.
Because he thought it was the way he introduced himself, because
Yeah.
I guess he took it more as a joke than anything. And
Mm.
he did like a cringy kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
introduction where he said he played Fortnite and stuff. And he was like, "No, yeah, like this is it. I'm not hearing from this man ever
Yeah.
again." And I
That's
took a
funny.
more serious approach, and I like
Yeah.
actually like introduced myself and like wanted to know about more about you and stuff.
Yeah.
And then that was the start of it. It just came from my friend convincing me enough to fill in my personal information to the little paper. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember from my perspective, it's kind of crazy because I think literally a week before I got you, that was when I had like decided that I was gonna do SSA like full time, um,
Mm.
and I was gonna like leave my my part-time job at PetSmart because like I was like if I have the opportunity to do something that I like full time, I might
Right.
as well do it. And I think the week before we got paired, I had messaged my boss and I was like, I think I'm interested in taking on more students, and like if we happen to get any more, I'll gladly take them. And I think Justin told me like, yeah, we have kickoffs going on like on the West Coast right now, anyways, so I'll start dropping them in. And you were the only student that I got in the month of September. It was like a couple
Oh.
days after my birthday. That's why I remember like so vividly getting connected with you, and like the whole it kind of gave me the opportunity to, because you were my only new student that month, it gave me the opportunity to like really just kind of focus on building up like a rapport and figuring out like
Okay.
what we were both about, I guess.
Right.
And yeah, now here we are a year and a half later. You're not even my
Yeah.
student anymore.
No, we're just.
We're just friends. That's You never expect that kind of thing to happen,
Oh,
and it
definitely
and it,
not.
it really doesn't. We just kind of, yeah, like we said, we just kind of really hit it off. Some of the shit we send each other on Instagram is like, like
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that.
yeah, exactly.
Really quick, I just wanted to add a little bit of context to what we're talking about. This episode, like the last one, was recorded back in February. And now that I'm taking the time to edit it down and get it ready to present to the world, I realize I don't think I did a very good job explaining at the time just the timeline of events and how we ended up where we are. So I'm here now to do that. So Miguel was one of my students for a very short period of time. He was only on my roster for maybe 4 months, if that. And through some technicalities, he was reassigned to a new agent. It was a thing where like the qualifications that are needed to work within county that he lived in, which is why he was reassigned to a new agent. But during those 4 months that he was on my roster, we just very quickly kind of just hit it off and became friends very quickly, I think, after he came off of my roster and we were no longer in that agent-student dynamic. It gave us the opportunity to just kind of exist as friends at that point. And I've since gotten the chance to hang out with him and his brothers multiple times, play video games together on the weekends. I'll call him if I need something, he'll call me if he needs something. Like, it's a very, you know, a very unexpected thing that happened through the most arbitrary set of circumstances, and we talk about that all the time. Like, there are like 300 agents or something crazy that he could have gotten paired with. And, he got paired with me. We met and just really hit it off, and here we are now. So I'm happy that it did happen, because it left me with a incredible friend. All of that being said, let's go ahead and jump back into it.
I was curious to know, because I was looking through before this, because I'm a professional procrastinator. As you put it earlier, I was looking through our old like SSA messages to just kind of like see like what we could talk about, and I was
Mhm.
curious to know like what your first impression was, I guess, of this and like of me, and not trying to like fish for compliments or whatever, but I'm just like curious because I don't think I've ever asked, so I'm
Right.
curious like what your thought process was.
Well, at first I thought it was gonna be one of those things where it was um, like a spam account just on my messages app. Like,
Yeah,
that's what I originally thought it was gonna be, where it's just this person constantly sending me automated messages and stuff. Whereas like it wasn't really like personalized or like just to me specifically, but
yeah,
just to a general group. And like when you were just like texting me just like a regular, I guess just a regular ass person, it kind of like took me back because I was like, yo, like this is actually what it says it is, just a person just
yeah,
like trying to get to know you and making sure you're good. And I always took it as like, yo, this is like it's like a pen pal of sorts. Like
yeah,
the person you just talk to, but you don't necessarily send a letter. You're kind of just messaging them constantly, they message you back constantly.
yeah,
So to be able to say like, "Oh yeah, I have a friend Noah in Arizona. He knows a crap ton about me."
yeah,
Um, it's just honestly, I take it as a blessing because
yeah,
I've always seen it as, the more people you know, like it's just the better. Like
yeah,
especially when you create like those kind of close relationships with one another, where as you said, like I can talk to you about things and you can talk to me about things,
yeah.
and to say like, "Oh yeah, I met this person over a text message."
Right?
It's
That's
just the crazy
crazy.
part. So to
Yeah.
me, I take it as a blessing more than anything.
We were playing Terraria the other day because you're getting me
Mhm.
into all these new games. Which is like I didn't grow
Somehow
up. I know, right?
these
I didn't
these
grow up
games that have been out for 30 years damn
years
near.
years. I didn't grow up with brothers, and I like barely played games growing up. So like I'm getting
Mm,
that experience like the longer that I
right.
know you for sure. But yeah, we were playing Terraria. Our world is affectionately named Noah's Ark. And we talked about this, but you were kind of raised to be very mature and to kind of look after yourself and your brothers, and I would say for sure you were definitely very much ahead of the curve, and I don't say it to like jinx you, but you're someone that I look at and I think like they're going to be just fine in life, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
you're not afraid to do work, you're not afraid to do things that are hard, to put yourself out there. It's a very important quality to have, and most people kind of learn that as they you know go through adulthood, but that's something that you said has kind of been instilled in you from a young age. Like I said, give yourself the ability to kind of just live and enjoy in the moment. But by that same token, you've messaged me before. You're like, this shit is hard. Like, I'm going through it. It's not easy. Mental health is a thing. We have funks, like we said.
Mhm.
You can't always operate at 100%. As someone who has an incredible work ethic, how do you navigate those feelings of like either burnout or like hurdles or any type of like hardship, I guess, as you've experienced them and as you've done this kind of work, how do you kind of handle that?
Well, being put in a position like that to where you know yourself, I always think of it as it's like I know like I'm going through something if I know I personally like mess something up. So like for
Hmm.
like perfect example, like work, right? Like I just started working and just got my certification for driving a forklift.
Yeah.
And as easy as it sounds, it's kind of like I'm not saying it's crazy hard, but like sometimes like you just can't pick that pallet up, right?
Yeah.
And it's really annoying you. And this kind of goes with everything too. It's just one of those things where I kind of just tell myself constantly, like, no matter how mad I get or how upset I get at myself, like, it's gonna pass. Like,
Yeah.
regardless of what happens, like, I'm gonna go to sleep and wake up knowing that one, it's either over, or two, it's gonna happen again. But this time I know what to expect going back into that situation, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna try my best to like just get out of that like stressful like situation as fast as I can.
Yeah.
And especially if with my training and stuff and basic training, I wouldn't say it was necessarily like physically hard, but it was more of hurry up and wait kind of situation
Yeah.
where it was like, all right, we're waking up at 3 in the morning, going to the range at 4, like we're rucking to the range with all our gear at 4 and getting ready to shoot by like 7.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where it's like you're just kind of just waiting, sitting around all day waiting to shoot maybe once. And it's just one of the things like, why am I here? Why am I wasting my time? Why am I just
Yeah.
rotting away in the hot ass Oklahoma sun, like 105 degrees? And like it was just like more of a mental challenge where it was just like I just don't want to do this. Not because it's physically hard, but like mentally, it's
Hmm.
just draining. You're doing the same thing every day. But I always told myself, and like even um, well, actually, my girlfriend has that notebook, but I have a notebook where I would just write down. I would journal a lot, and I guess yeah, that's another thing too. I just journal. Just write down my thoughts, kind of like a diary, I guess you call it, but
Yeah.
just a recollection of the day's events. Um, I initially started it as just so I can remember in the future, be like, oh yeah, this day I did this. But the more I did it, the more it was like a relief to like I looked forward to at uh like lights out, pull out my little flashlight and write down what happened that day, and going to sleep knowing like I'm in a clear like state, I'm in a clear mind, like nothing is bothering me, like the day
Yeah.
has passed. So yeah, just when it comes to those kind of stressful situations, I'm not saying it happen all the time, but when they do happen, for
Yeah.
me, like specifically, it's just one of those things where like I know I'm gonna solve it one way or another.
Right.
And that's just kind of how I view a lot of things. It's like I'm gonna figure it out. Like no matter how many times I face plant, I freaking just get completely knocked down by whatever I'm going through. Like I'm going to figure it out.
I was gonna ask you about the journaling and stuff too, but like I love that it's like a because all of you that are there are going through the same thing. Like
Mhm.
you could like talk about it with each other, I guess, but it's kind of like I don't know. You explained it perfectly. It's like a way to kind of get all of your mind out of your head onto paper so you can like I don't know reflect on it. It kind of gets it out of your system. So yeah, it's like you start with a brand new page the next day. But yeah, you're inherently, I would say, a very creative person. You seem to me at least to have a lot of ideas. Are a musician. You played music. You write music.
Yeah, during basic training, I had a little notebook that I wrote some songs in. They're pretty cool songs, but that was lost like
Yeah,
every
because
other
of the
thing
rain.
because it just started pissing rain, and I had it in my little cargo pocket, and
Dang.
my uniform got drenched. Therefore, my notebook got drenched. But yeah, I'd say yeah, I'm a pretty I like playing the guitar mainly. Like that's really the only thing I know how to
Yeah.
play. I learned to play it off of YouTube and my mom because my mom plays the guitar too.
Yeah.
but she doesn't really know how to play like the music I like to learn. I like to play, which is like corridos and stuff like that. You know,
Mm.
you've seen my playlist,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and just yeah, it's just been always been a thing where like I always like to say like I need to learn how to do something like to be able
Yeah.
to at a function like a
Just
family function. They're
yeah.
like, oh, there's a guitar, and then someone plays, and I'm like, yo, I can play too. Like, let me show out real quick.
Yeah.
Right? But sadly, as of lately, I haven't really picked it up at all, just because I've been just uh just kind of relaxing since I've been back.
Yeah.
But
Understandably.
that's definitely something I need to get back
Yeah.
into.
So you wrote it during basic training. Did you write anything like before you left, or was that something that kind of you
That
used
was
to
just
occupy your time there?
yeah, it was just something I just like randomly started doing. I just came up with like a little melody in my head.
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Dang, I should write that down." And we always had to have a notebook on us, so I wrote
Yeah.
it down. And then I was like, "Oh, like." Then I came up with like another little part of a melody. And then I wrote that down, and then I put two and two together, and I was like, "Oh, this sounds pretty nice." We would sit down. It was usually on range days during, I think it was Y phase. It's called. Um, just sit down for 6 hours, just waiting to shoot, and then we just be chilling.
Definitely, I would love to. I know they're lost to lost to the elements, but I would love to see you have the chance to get back into that because I'm sure they are great. Um, and I was going to ask you too. You said that you learned from your mom how to play guitar, but like the your like tangible approach to doing things uh, like being able to pick up an instrument or like writing your thoughts down. Does that come from anyone else in your family? Like I know you're very close with your brothers, which is something else that I love to see. How similar, I guess, are you guys in those types of things,
um,
if at
well,
all?
I feel like because we all kind of started as kind of like how my father is. My father's a very like closed like person. He will never
Hmm.
like say something is going on or he's going through something. He will
Yeah,
keep it to himself. And um that's how kind of we grew up because that's what we were around.
yeah,
And I guess growing up I was always just like no, like I don't want to be like my father in that aspect. 'Cause my father he's amazing. He's great.
yeah,
But I like it's like one of those things where like I need to outdo my father and be
mm,
like healthy mentally.
yeah,
And it's just I love doing research of just like random things to
yeah,
just talk about or just things that are interesting me at that time. And mental health um during like the end of middle school, start of high school was like a big thing for me.
yeah,
And when I read about journaling and stuff, my little immature mind was like, "Man, that's dumb. That's basically a diary. Like, you'll never catch me doing that dumb stuff." But when I actually did it, it was like, "Damn, that's It took me a while to come around to it. I'm not gonna lie. I write down. I'm like, man, this is dumb as hell, right?
yeah,
But yeah, finally came back. It finally came around, and it was just one of those things where it just. I guess that's just one of my resets.
yeah.
Is where I could just me time is just sit down, write down what's going on.
It's cool to hear from other people that they kind of take similar approaches, and I would recommend that to anybody
Oh,
to
definitely.
just try something. It doesn't have to be those two specific exact things you have to do, but you know, at some point you have to uh, evaluate how you're doing, you know, with yourself, either mentally or the way that you're performing in life or like towards the things you're trying to do. Because if you're not critical of those things, um, you really can't uh, progress. I don't think.
Mhm.
Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
and like that's just kind of something now that you mention it, like I've always done that. It's where I'm just like now learning how to like stop myself and think something like thoroughly through, especially like mentally like And now growing up like financially,
Yeah.
um, it's just one of those things where like I'm spending money here and here, and I never really
Yeah.
like sit myself down and it's like, damn, you really spent this amount of money a week on this thing and this thing and this thing.
Yeah.
And like I just it's not that I'm bad at spending. I don't think I am, but it's always a good thing to just like you said, take the time, sit down and like know what your kind of like budget is and where you want to like
Yeah.
because that's it's what's what the world runs on, right? Like without money, not
Right.
saying money buys happiness, but money's gonna buy you food so you're happy,
Yeah.
right? Or so you're
Or
comfortable.
it'll buy you a microphone so you could pursue
Exact
your
there,
your
that's
your
another thing.
SoundCloud podcast career.
But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, I would say definitely buy a notebook, whether that be
Yeah.
like something small or like a big notebook.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a lot better because you yourself write
Oh
it
yeah.
down than just like typing it with your fingers. And then
Yeah.
it's also just a disconnect from like electronics and whatnot. So
Right.
right
Yeah.
before bed or at the start of your day, you start with something that's not your phone or not your laptop.
Yeah. That's a good idea. I should start doing that. I know you were good at or not good at, what am I trying to say, you were in touch with your religion and stuff. I'm not
Mhm.
going to get like super super deep into that because I know not everybody is down to hear and talk about that kind of stuff, but I that's something that I'm trying to like get better at, I guess. And I guess it kind of comes from like, where do you direct um because like I guess that's why people pray and stuff, but like where do you
Mhm.
direct gratitude to, and where do you direct you know um, these like thoughts and stuff that you have um, about yourself, I guess, if not to some higher being, maybe to just a journal or something. um,
Mhm.
yeah, it doesn't, I guess it is on topic, but that's just kind of a thought I had.
Um, well, like when it comes to like gratitude or like I do something and it's
Mhm.
like, dang, like I really did this because of this.
Yeah.
I always say, um, well, first, like obviously, first and foremost, being the religious person I am, like I thank, you know, my Lord and Savior, right? Like,
Yeah.
I thank them for the knowledge and the ability to do these things.
Right.
But like when it comes down to it, in like kind of connection to that, my parents are always the reason that I have those abilities and those
Yeah.
like that knowledge of doing those things. Especially when it comes to like actual grown up stuff. Like
Yeah.
I love talking to my father just about just like random things, just like grown ups just be doing.
Yeah.
And like even when I go out with my father to like his friends' parties or whatever, I sit down with them and I don't say anything, but I listen to a lot of what
Yeah.
they say. And it's just things that I pick up on where I kind of surprise myself too. And now that I think about it, me and my older brother were when he came into town. I think it was on my birthday or when I came home. I think it was when I came home. We were on our way home from. Geez, I don't even know where, but we were on our way home, and we were just talking, and he was just asking for general advice, and I kind of gave it to him, and then he kind of just like stops and he kind of looks at me and he's like, where did you get like so like wise, like so smart and like just living?
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean? It was like, yeah, dude, like you just the way you just spit thoughts out, it just like makes sense, but like it's weird coming from you because you're my younger brother.
Yeah.
And it was like, where do you hear all these thoughts or like ideas or ideologies to where it's like you just pick up on them and you think about them? And I was like, I don't know. It's just I
I'm just him.
I guess so, but it's just
Yeah.
I can't really pinpoint down a specific
Yeah.
person, but all in all, I'd say my parents are the reason for how I am
Yeah.
and who I am, for raising me the way they did.
Yeah. I learned a lot about, yeah, like myself and how to kind of be like I would consider myself a very nice person,
Mm,
maybe to a fault sometimes, um, but I think I don't know. My mom kind of I grew up with a single mom,
mhm,
so I don't know, that's that and like hard work and stuff. I definitely learned from her. I have learned things from my dad. You know, he's not someone who I, you know, necessarily care to have a relationship with, but
Mhm.
I guess in the sense of what not to do, maybe I've learned from
Okay,
him.
yeah,
So I
definitely.
guess in that sense, thankful for that. I guess if there's anything I can be thankful to him for. And you know, it's funny, like you said earlier, like surpassing your dad in certain elements of life. So that's interesting that you to hear that, I guess, from someone who has both parents, who are both good parents. You know, I'm very happy that you have that in your life. You know, that's something that I constantly, I have like father figures and stuff, but that's
Mhm.
something that has always kind of felt like I wonder how much different my life would be if I did have that. Very, very interesting to think about. Yeah.
The way I think of it is, and this could go for like anything, like anyone, is like at the end of the day, like when it comes down to it, like those are the people that are gonna like be there with you when
Yeah.
everything else just flips upside down.
Right.
It's like these, like
Yeah,
that's kind of the people you want, and that could be with
exactly.
friends too. It was
Yeah.
like regardless of what happens, like I know this person, I know Noah is gonna be on the other side of
Yeah.
the phone hearing me out.
Yeah. Likewise. As a graduation gift last year, I bought you a pendant, and
Ooh.
I wear them all the time. That's why I wanted to get you one. I think I was like, I don't know if you like are a jewelry person, but like this is something that I would like to do for you because like I wear mine. It's like I don't know, like piece things that are like attached to you and like
Mhm.
have meaning and stuff like that.
Right.
You told me which one you liked, and it was because you researched stoicism and philosophy. Like, because like you said earlier, you this is stuff that you like to like research stuff and kind of learn about things, and that was like such a cool um, thing to hear about. Do you have any like, or I guess where does that interest just come from your desire to research stuff, or is there like some other reason why these particular things, I guess, these like historical texts and you know people and way of thinking.
I guess it just comes down to like, well, I've always heard about it. Like in school, I think it was the allegory of the cave. I think it is, but that was like briefly, like just touched on,
Yeah.
and it was one of those things where it was like I like I like looking at perspectives, at different perspectives, and I learned a lot about that in like a leadership class I took, because
Hmm.
obviously to be a good leader, you need to be able to, look at different perspectives, different points of view,
Right.
and make your decision based off that. And it's just one of those things where it was like I want to better myself and how I am perceived by other people. So
Yeah.
I need to like be knowledgeable in grown up topics.
Yeah.
And philosophy was just one of those things that just kind of popped up. And I didn't really know what I was looking into at the time. It was just kind of things where like I saw one cool thing, I saw a hard looking word, so I clicked it and then I read about it,
Yeah.
and that kind of shot me down the rabbit hole of stoicism and different forms of philosophy, different Socrates, Plato, like the chain you got me. I forgot to pronounce his name. Marcus, like
Aurelius.
Aurelius. Yep.
Yeah.
And just their ways of thinking,
Yeah.
and it wasn't. Yeah, it was. It's one of those things where I just wanted to act or like sound more mature. So
Yeah.
my idea was to get a bunch of information from the internet about how these people thought and how they spoke and how they wrote,
Yeah.
and to kind of incorporate it with myself, and to see how like people perceive me then,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't seem like a child or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So who
Yeah.
knows? Yeah.
You might be the modern day Socrates or Plato. Who knows?
Definitely not to that extent, but
Yeah, I think I'm I've always kind of been really interested in like Greek mythology and like uh Roman mythology and stuff like that. I think you've seen them. I have like statues of Zeus,
Mhm.
Poseidon, and Hades in my
Yep.
room they're like bronze statues. They're really cool. My sister got them for me. But yeah, what's you've had a really crazy year, I would say. Like I said, you graduated high school in May of last year, 2023. We're in
Mhm.
2024 now. That's insane, by the way. Um, and you kind of like you were off for like what 2 weeks, and then you were shipped off to the military for like the rest of the year, pretty much, and then you came back in December. Um,
Yeah.
so like you haven't had a really a chance until now to kind of like stop and reflect on things. And we kind of maybe this question might be kind of repetitive. You might have kind of said your piece on it, but like, have you learned anything about yourself that maybe you weren't expecting to through that whole process? Because I remember it wasn't initially a plan of yours to join the military. At least from my understanding, it
Mhm.
was, you did ROTC stuff, and it was you were kind of in those circles. I remember like when you told me like I think this is something that I want to do, and I'm gonna go ahead and like apply and make it happen. Is there something through that process related to the military or not about yourself that you've kind of maybe weren't expecting to get out of it or learn that you carry with you now?
Um, I would definitely have to say it would be like the ability to just like be the like the best person, like the best, most like efficient person under like crazy stressful situations. Like there was one point in time where they were just flipping our stuff regardless of like if you were good or not. They were doing like a barracks check, and all my stuff was just scattered all over the floor that I had spent like it was like on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and I spent the majority of my Sunday like after church just like organizing and making sure it was like really really clean, and like to see it dumped out and stuff. Like my initial thing wasn't to just like shut down and stuff. My and what surprised me was the instinct to just be like, all right, I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it better this time.
Mm,
And I'm actually gonna spend my time with this. And I guess just I found my love for just being crazy organized,
yeah,
just like knowing where everything is and knowing why it's there. And like I've always been an organized person, but not to the extent that I think I am now,
yeah,
where it's I just need to I can't sit down and not do anything if I know something is out of place. I guess that's OCD. I guess that's what it is now that I think about
maybe,
it.
yeah,
Maybe. But it definitely helps keep my room really organized and keep
yeah,
um just keep like work and stuff just make it like that much easier because I know how to do
right.
things.
You don't have to like scramble to
Exactly, yeah.
try and find something. Yeah,
And there would be
for
a
sure.
lot of people
That's
definitely that did that.
yeah,
They Yeah, a lot of people.
yeah. I wish I was more like that. I'm my workspaces tend to be kind of see, and it's weird because I like to think I'm a very like type A person, but I'm really not. Um, I like I'm organized, and like I have the capacity to like be organized, I guess, but like if I like start a project or something, or like I'm like crafting or doing something and I have like shit everywhere, like I kind of just it's like things kind of just fall where they are. My brain is like can like scan the mess and be like this is where these things are, and like
Mm.
it's I don't know, that's kind of how I that's how I
That's how you
operate.
operate, yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely like to be more like that. I think it is useful because there are times where that backfires on me and I'm like, I know I had this specific pencil that I need and I just cannot find it for the life of me. Um, so I want you to take time for yourself to, just kind of relax and do what you need to do. But
Mhm.
what is like the next step for you? Like what's next on Miguel's to-do list?
Um, I'm gonna have to say just like focusing and locking in on school. It might be a weird adjustment just because I've been out of school for a long time,
Yeah.
not necessarily by choice, but
Right.
I've just been out of school, so it's gonna be a big adjustment to just like having homework and stuff to do.
Yeah.
And I guess just looking into, because obviously I'm in the military for a reason, for school. And I've been looking into I'm currently a student at well, I'm enrolled to like enroll, I guess you call it. Well, like I'm admitted to enroll, there you go. For the fall term, I think it is. Yeah, spring, yeah, fall. That's when I'm gonna start. And they have UNLV, so they have a ROTC program, and that's for like actual. That's like the real deal, the real effing
Yeah.
deal,
Yeah.
right? So that's just to commission as an officer, and that's what the ultimate goal is.
Yeah.
Um, if it was even from like when I was younger, it'd always be cool to just like me and my brothers we'd have Nerf guns and we play war and stuff.
Yeah.
And the go-to rank when I was younger, and my older brothers too, was I was a lieutenant and he was a captain. And it's just one of those things now. It's like my older brother is in the military, so I gotta be that captain.
Yeah.
And it comes with a big fat paycheck. So
Yeah. So there you go.
yeah. So yeah, that's the next move right now. I was just working as of right now, stacking my bread, as they
Of
say it.
course. Yeah.
Um and just getting ready for that semester, going to school and doing good.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you about like school and how that was gonna work because you were in holdover. So that
Oh
kind
my
of
god.
affected starting this spring.
Yeah.
But everything happens for a reason. So yeah, I'm excited
And
to see it for you.
the crazy thing is this: if it wouldn't have been for me being a holdover, just for like 2 months, damn near, I probably would
Yeah,
have been in Reno right now, which is crazy.
I know. Yeah, because you were gonna go to a completely different school.
Exactly. And now that moving, well, because I still want to move out, but at some point,
Yeah,
um, but moving to Reno has been put on pause or on delete, maybe,
yeah,
just because I came back just way too late
yeah,
to enroll in any kind of school and to plan out moving and stuff. And so like finding a job and stuff, like I just found a job. I've been working for what, like 3 weeks now, I think, 4
yeah.
weeks, a month. Eh,
Nice.
it's a blessing in disguise somehow.
Yeah,
I have
exactly.
yet to find out why, but we'll
Well,
find out.
yeah. One day you'll be sitting in class and you'll be like, "This is why."
Yep,
It all
this.
makes sense now. But yeah, as your former agent, I'm proud. As a friend, I'm even prouder. So thank you for everything and for being who you are.
Man, likewise. You know, um, you've definitely been there for more than I thought you would be there for.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
for someone I met over a text message, it's pretty it's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
With SSA,
yeah.
we're just like, this isn't my Asian Noah, this is my boy Noah.
Exactly.
Uh,
Yeah. I'll have to figure out what to talk about. Maybe it'll be the Roman Empire. Maybe it'll be it'll be something else. But we'll figure it out because you have all the equipment now. So like we have to
sure,
put it to use.
we have to. This is what it's
Exactly.
here for.
Exactly.
All right, friends, that is the end of episode 3. Thank you again so much to Miguel for being this week's guest and sitting and talking and sharing his philosophies with the world. I hope you guys enjoyed, and he will definitely be back for at least a few more episodes this season. So look forward to that because I definitely am. If you don't already follow The Pursuit of Us on Instagram, please go ahead and do that. Again, that's where I will share highlights and clips and just different things that are going on with the podcast that you can enjoy and share and gain some wisdom, that is The Pursuit of .us on Instagram. I will post the links every week to the new episodes on Spotify and YouTube. And yeah, friends, that is it for this week. I will see you next week. Take care of yourself. Much love and peace out.
Yeah.
All right, friend.
That's
I
a
think
wrap.
that's it. That's
That
a
is
wrap.
a wrap. 1 hour
Sweet.
and 1 minute.
Heck yeah.
That was good. I like that.